How exactly should you price your Skool community? I'm going to give you guys the T based on helping 4 communities win the games by generating over $2 million for my clients and winning the games myself back in August with a high ticket offer and now having launched a low ticket offer. And I'm going to share the pros and the cons to an offer that's $7 versus an offer that's $2,500 or $10,000. So you can really make a decision. What is your offer? What are the pros and cons? Who are the people you want to work with? And how should you price that? Because it's going to come down to a really simple formula of what problems you want to solve. So I'm going to give you guys the most objective view I can based on all of the different data I have from working with high and low ticket offers. So you can just see what makes the most sense for you. So how do you price your Skool community? Let's get into it. So I've got this community that's a $9 community, right? And I've been able to scale it to 1.2K members. Now I've had it at a few different price points, but always low ticket or either like lower ticket or free. And that's why I've been able to scale to 1.2K members. Because if it was $9.99, it would have been a lot of work to scale to over 1,000 members. But I've scaled this to 1.2K, and these are some common price points I've seen as a copywriter on Skool that people are charging in the low ticket space. And just a rule of thumb, low ticket, just so we all understand it, is typically below $9.99. Some people have different definitions, but I'm just going to assume that for this video, it's below $9.99. Some people would call 2K low ticket. I think that's kind of a stretch. I think below $9.99 is a safe bet. So some common price points are $19, $49, $97, $197, $299. Some people get fancy. They do like 97 instead of 99. That honestly makes no difference on Skool. People do not care. So maybe when you come to like an offer like $9 versus $10, there's a little bit of pricing psychology there. What I will say is the numbers in between 49 and 99 don't seem to work as well. Like a $65 offer or $75 offer doesn't seem to perform as well as at 99, which I find really interesting. And my theory is that people associate price with things that they know. So they know things that cost $99, they know things that cost $49 because those are really common price points. But it's not too often that I'm buying like an $89 product or a $65 product. It's typically going to be either like $50 or $100. So $49 and $99 are very quantifiable numbers, and people are more comfortable with that. But now, like when it comes to actually selling this, what's the pros and cons you have to consider so you can make the best decision here? There's a list here of some serious pros that make low ticket sound really, really good. And these are some of the reasons that I've done low ticket. Number one, I can grow it without sales calls. So you can launch an offer that's $29 and just promote it across your social media. Even with a small following, you will get some sales without sales calls. And then if you want to go crazy and do a webinar or something, by all means, you'll sell even more. But you do not need a whole sales team. You have proof of demand early on. So you're able to really gauge if it's something people like early on, whereas a high ticket, because there's more friction, you don't get that proof as early or as quickly. And then more of the current audience can afford it. So, I mean, that's just common sense. Like if you have 100,000 followers or if you have, a massive ad budget and you're putting this offer in front of a lot of people, a higher percentage of people can afford a $49 product versus a $1,000 product. People have different income ranges. If you look at the average income range, you're going to get a lot of data on, can my audience actually afford this offer? And the caveat to that is there's always a small percentage within that big average group of people that want a high ticket offer. So keep that in mind. You have lower expectations from the people buying a low ticket. So the cool thing about this is you can scale to 1,000 members at $10 and have, a really, really nice monthly income, have 10K a month coming in. And those people paying $10 a month are not expecting one-on-one calls with you. They're not expecting, live reviews. They might not even care if you go live at all in the community. So there's a lot lower expectations. There's a spider right in front of me. It's like that. So people are not coming in with these crazy expectations. That's all the pros there. And then the cons are what you want to consider. And this is where we're going to get super objective. And I actually don't have a preference. So it's literally just a list of problems, and you have different problems for high and low ticket, and you choose which problems you want to solve. There's so many people that are out there trying to say like, go this way, this is the best route. It's not the case. Like you see Netflix crushing it with a low ticket offer because there's such low friction that people don't care too much about their $10 or $15 a month going out. They forget about it. Whereas like a high ticket offer that's $9.99, I don't know about too many people forgetting about a $9.99 offer. I know I don't. Like if I see $9.99 coming out of my bank account every month, even though I make good money, I am not going to forget about that offer. I have to judge every single month, is it worth it for me to continue buying this? But let's not get ahead of ourselves. So low ticket comes with churn. That's inevitable. The issue is that like any low ticket membership, any membership at all, is going to have a percentage churn. Typically on Skool, what we see is 10 to 25% churn. If you have above 25%, you really need to fix that ASAP. If you have below 10, you're part of like that outlier group of really good people. I currently have 3.5% in my high ticket, but that's because I have a lot of people buying annual. So they're buying in for a year, and that makes the yearly churn almost nothing. So yeah, that's something to consider is like there's churn. And so let's say 10 or 15% of people churn. That means you have to sell 10 or 15% more every single month. And then if you want to see any growth of your community, so like if you sell 10 or 15% and that's what's churning, your community is just staying the same. If you want it to go up and you want to see growth, now you have to sell maybe 20, 25%, just to compensate for the churn. So you'll always need to promote it. You're always going to have to blast it on social media. You'll always need emails. It's never going to be passive income. Any kind of community offer, by the way, is not going to be passive income unless you were to go crazy and outsource it, but you're still going to have to answer questions. You're still going to have to manage a team, even if they're doing all the coaching for you. So it's never going to be fully passive. There's just degrees of passive income, and you can make it more passive or less passive, but it's never going to be fully passive. You'll always need to promote it. Customers are lower quality there purely because there's more of them. So if there's more people that can afford your offer, more people buy your offer, then you're going to have a bigger range of people in there. And you're going to have some people where maybe $10 is a lot of money for them. Maybe they do expect a high tick or like a white glove service. Maybe they do expect that one-on-one call. And you're going to have to deal with those expectations and tell people, no, we don't do that in here. That's in our 999 community. So that's something to consider because there's so many people. You're going to have more posts to delete. You're going to have more management you need. You might need to hire a personal assistant or an admin to do community management. So there's just more people to deliver a service for. And scaling requires more sales, duh. So that's like obvious, but there's less individual attention to your buyers. So you're going to have so many people in that community. You're not going to be talking one-on-one with them. That's just like, obviously, you know that. But it's something to consider because people may get less results because they don't have that contact with you as a like percentage base of the total people buying. Overall, they'll probably get more results because of the fact that they get, there's just more people in there. So that there's more people that are going through your program that are going to get the results you offer, assuming your program is good. But per capita, you might have only 5 to 10% of people actually be successful. So that's like the low ticket space. There's pros and there's cons. It's, easy to get people to join because, oh, that was a B. Easy to get people to join because it doesn't cost much. But there's also some cons, like you've got to deal with churn, you've got to deal with lower quality members, and maybe like a kind of unbalanced expectation level from them. So high ticket. Let's see if high ticket makes more sense for you. So 999 plus, typically, I consider high ticket like I've got everywhere from a 999 offer up to a 10 and 15K offer. And 10 and 15K, they're completely done for you. The 999 is done with you. And so there's different degrees of help based on how expensive it is. So the max limit on Skool, I think it's actually just changed to 10K. So that's exciting. But you'll see people charging 999. You'll see people charging 3K, 2,500, 5K, all over the place. And so this is my high ticket community. The about page is quite similar to the low ticket. And the reason you don't really have to do anything fancy on your about page for a high ticket, like this is honestly something I put more effort into. And the reason I don't have to put as much like crazy effort into this page is because everyone that joins this community is getting on a sales call first. There's nobody joining just directly because there's such a barrier of entry here, right? Like 999, there's very few people that are just going to go and buy that. Even though I stacked the value, even though I told them this is what you're going to get, I'm going to help you sign clients, I'm going to do all this, they still want to talk to someone and make sure it's actually going to work for them. And what happens when people get on sales calls and they believe that they can do this too. So there's more barrier of entry, which means this about page is not going to be the decision maker for people. The sales call is. So some pros of high ticket are it requires less sales to inject a lot of capital. So let's say you need to make 30K ASAP to pay off your car or to help out something with your parents, pay for a medical bill. To sell 30K worth of sales in a low ticket offer, you might have to go and sell 3,000 people at a very low ticket price point, like $10. But if you sell 30 people at 1K each, that gets you 30K. Or if you sell 3 people at 10K, that gets you 30K. And you'd be surprised that like for the amount of more money you make for high ticket, it's not that much more difficult to close them on a sales call, in my experience. So that's one point. Another thing is you can help people more closely because there's less of them. So you're getting them better results. The more attention you can give someone, the more you can get on a one-on-one call, or you could answer their questions in a post or in the community, in the DMs, the more results they get. Because the more personalized advice they're getting, the more accountability they're getting, the more likely they are to take action. So they just get better results. And there's also typically less people because less people can afford $1,000 versus $10. So you're filtering people naturally with the price, which means you're going to have people that are really invested, which I think I say here. They're serious, so they've put some skin in the game, so they're way more committed to getting results, and you're getting paid more, so you're more motivated to help them, and you're working with less people, so you can just give them more of your time. But let's see what are the cons, because let's be fair here. There are definitely cons to high ticket. So you're not able to help everyone in your audience if you have a high ticket offer. If you've got even just 1,000 followers on Instagram, less than 10% of them are probably going to buy your $9.99 offer just because they can't afford it. And it's something that like is going to naturally filter out a massive percentage of the people that you reach out to, the people that see your ads, people that follow you. And so that's something to consider, is you won't be able to help everyone. That's why you'll see a lot of coaches have a low ticket and a high ticket, so they can help more people in their audience. And they often nurture people from the low ticket into the high ticket. So expectations are higher. When people buy a $1,000 product, they expect more. They expect better results. They expect one-on-one calls. They expect personalized game plans. They expect reviews and edits, and whatever it is your offer is doing for them, they want more access to you if they're paying $1,000 a month. And that's fair. So you're going to need sales calls, you're going to need webinars, you're going to need some kind of conversion mechanism that involves you getting on a camera, because people are going to want to hear it from you or hear it from a sales rep, and they're going to want to actually know that this is for them. And so there's objections that anyone has looking at a $9.99 offer that they can't just really like risk that. So they're going to get on a sales call and they're going to want to make sure it's a good fit for them. So I've only ever had one person buy my $9.99 without a sales call. And I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And of course I went and I got on a call with him immediately. I was like, how can I help you? Let me make sure this is like good for you. And like, I gave him so much attention because he just went and bought that. But that is such a rare occurrence. So just keep that in mind. You're going to need a little bit more work on the actual conversion process. So those are all the cons. And this is just a little graphic that I created. So some of the things that you're going to be giving people in your communities in a low ticket, like some of them are the same, but a lot of them are different. So low ticket, it's going to be more like checklists, guides, a course, pre-recorded content. Whereas high ticket, it's access to you. It's more of a premium white glove experience where they're getting your support. They're going to get live coaching calls, Q&As. They might get long-term life-changing transformations. Like that's what you're emphasizing. Low ticket, it's more about the community. It's the wins inside the community, that group mentality. The key deliverables is probably just gonna be your course and classroom and maybe some like PDFs and checklists, like I said. So those are the key things. Now let's like weigh these together. So you've heard the pros and cons, and let's see what actually makes sense. Now keep in mind, both of these work. I've seen both of them scale to over 6 figures a month, and I've worked with clients in both niches, and they literally both work. It's just different sets of problems. So we went through those problems. So you just have to evaluate now here, what problems do you want to experience? So some of the problems with the low ticket is less commitment, lower engagement, perception of a cheaper product. So that's some of the problems there. Whereas a high ticket, it's higher commitment because there's skin in the game, higher engagement, and people look at it like a higher quality product. So they take you more seriously in the advice that you're giving. So that's something to consider. Now, I know this scale is like basically saying that high ticket is better, which like, in my opinion, I will say right now, I made way more of my money for my $10K offer versus my $9.99 offer. And then I make way more money for my $9.99 offer than I do for my $9 offer. So there's that, but they both have different problems. So the $9 offer, just for example, like I don't do anything for that. I don't promote it. I don't have sales calls for it. I don't engage. I don't really do anything in there besides share what I'm working on. And it's no friction for me. Whereas a high ticket offer, I'm going live every week. I'm coaching people. I'm getting on sales calls. I'm talking to people one-on-one. I'm answering DMs. I'm posting in there. I'm doing a lot more for those community members because the expectations were so much higher and they invested so much more. So I think that should make sense, but the price influences the community dynamics. That's what you have to understand here. So the lower ticket community is more passive, but not entirely. Now, look at this. This is just one thing I want you guys to consider too with pricing. And it's basically to say that the pricing is going to determine the value. And so that's another thing to consider is it's not just like, do I want this problem or that problem? It's really like, and it's not even to say, do I have the skill set to charge $9.99? Because I started charging $9.99 a year ago when I'd only been copywriting for 3 months. So one thing you have to take a look at is like, who do I want to attract? What kind of customers do I want to have? Because the people that are going to go spend $2,700 on this Louis Vuitton bag versus the people that are just going to go to Walmart and buy a $33 bag are totally different avatars. And the people that are going to go buy a Cartier watch are very different than the people that are going to go buy this watch. Now, there's some crossover. There's some people that do both. But this is a very practical bag that gets the job done. And this is a very status-oriented bag. It's just a fact. People buy this because they want other people to see the logo, not because the leather is that much better. Because honestly, when I worked for a fashion company, I can tell you behind the scenes, the bags we would make for like high-end fashion companies versus like gas stations, they were made of the same ingredients. So that price is what creates the value, because people buy this because they want other people to know they can afford a $2,700 bag. It's pure status. And the people that buy this bag, they just want a bag that works. They don't really care. They might want people to think it's more expensive, but they're not worried about or caught up on a logo. And the same for the watches. Like, they both get the same job done. Some would argue this is a slightly better job, but basically what you're paying for here is a really expensive brand because it did not cost them thousands of dollars to make that watch. So that's something to consider as well. If you have a $9.99 community that delivers the same thing as a $99 community, people will simply perceive your community as more valuable because less people can join. So it's more premium access to you, it's more one-on-one attention, and it's got that status symbol attached to it. So those are kind of the pros and cons of high and low ticket. Hopefully that makes sense. Like I said, I offer everything under the sun from $9 to $10K to $15K. So there's lots of different things you guys can do and you can make work, and you can probably create variations of your offer that make each work. But if you want to optimize for making sales straight off the bat, you're probably going to want to be in high ticket, and then you can go from there and create a low ticket to fill the gap with the people that couldn't afford your high ticket. So that's my honest opinion. Hopefully that's valuable to you guys. If you want help signing your first 5 or 10 clients, book a call below. I'm happy to game plan with you, and I will see you guys in the next video.